My said he would break up with me if I hug my coworkers/friends. Hi guys. So my BF and I have been together for almost 2 years now and everything seems to be going great. The other day, my coworkers and I went to a theme park after our shift, 3 girls 2 guys. He was invited but could not come. We had our fun and Ubered to the mall because that's where the rest of their cars were/where we were getting picked up. Some end up parting ways and at that point it was just guy A and girl A waiting with me for my BF to come pick me up. Girl A was dropping guy A to the gym to meet with his girlfriend. So we're all just waiting outside chatting and my BF arrives in front of us. I hug my GF goodbye and start saying goodbye to my guy friend. I'm about to go in for a quick handshake but his arm gestures a side hug and so we give each other a quick side goodbye hug. The moment it happened I felt a little bit anxiety but I wasn't sure why. I steal into the car and he's upset and quiet. I ask him what's wrong and he says, do you really think what you did was okay? I got quiet and I didn't say a word. He starts cussing under his breath and says how he never wants a guy to put his hands on me because they don't have good intentions. I started to apologize and thought it would be okay because I didn't think anything of it and kind of froze in the moment. He said it's very disrespectful to do that in a relationship and that this is worth leaving someone for if I have a problem with it. I don't know if this is normal because it was in my past relationships, the hugging. I also don't mind if he gives his female friends side hugs. I asked him who I'm allowed to hug and he said only family. And then I asked if my guy friends of 15 years SRD who I see once a year at a park say hello and give me a side hug would they be allowed and he said no. Comment. I want you to really reflect on this point. Are you really sure you don't know why you got anxious? Or did part of you know your boyfriend would flip over this? Was it the first time he has gone off like this? I am not saying this because I think he is being reasonable. Completely the opposite, I think this is absurd and outright toxic. You're 22. You can hug a friend. Why would you want a partner so paranoid that not only will he have a meltdown over a hug but he is now trying to scare you into avoiding them outright? He can pretend they have bad intentions but in the end it is you he doesn't trust. After all it would be you that chose to cheat if you did, right? Just be real about that. I find it kind of hard to believe this is the first time he has lectured you about stuff or that you had no grounds to suddenly tense up around him like that. If this is a pattern then that only compounds how unreasonable all of this is. Let's also consider the possibility of him moving the goalposts. Next it's going to be talking to other men, then maybe your girlfriends, then your family. This kind of ultimatum is a deal breaker for me. This is exactly the kind of thing my abusive ex started with regarding controlling/toxic behavior. After a year or two and we had moved in together he then started punching walls and then eventually throwing things at me and hitting me. This is the kind of behavior you run away from before it can get worse. And possibly some projection from him. Saying that other guys have bad intentions, when he may be talking about his own intentions. It is worth talking about at least and see if it can be worked out. Good luck and stay safe. I would argue that this isn't a boundary but an action of control because it restricts her actions and agency. Boundaries are there to provide respect for the issuer and also outlines a reaction, like, if you go through my phone without permission I will leave the relationship. Putting a boundary on hugging a friend, especially a friend who has never crossed any line or did anything inappropriate, is unnecessary because it stems from the boyfriend's projected or imagined insecurities and not from a reaction to the girlfriend actually being dishonest, disrespectful, or invading his private personal space. I would run in the other direction. He's literally telling you he's going to be a jealous and possessive boyfriend. It won't stop with your male friends either. After he's isolated you from them he will start ticking off your girlfriends, too. Soon you'll be boxed in and he won't need to share you with Snyon. Next story 2. I think I should break up with my girlfriend but it feels like the toughest thing I will ever do. Me and my girlfriend have been together 8 months now, we go to the same college and even have the same major. We have been so vulnerable with each other and deep but as the months go by with how she behaves and then how I handle it, things have felt like they have been fading. I find myself more irritated with things she does and I hate the term because it's thrown around so much but even getting icked by some stuff. It's so weird that when I have thoughts about splitting up crowding my mind she somehow seems more understanding on text without me even voicing these things and it just makes it harder. We go back to school in a week and since we live an hour away right now and she is always busy I thought I would wait until school starts so that we are closer and I can just deal with it in the environment that the relationship started. But I'm more scared than ever and my mind has been obsessing over the good stuff, like memories, the things I love about her, The guilt of how she will feel, because even though we have problems and have been close to splitting before, this is a bit unprovoked. And she keeps talking about going to our favorite restaurant when we are back and being excited to be closer, but all I'm thinking about is the future, and if I'm gonna break up with her, how would I do it? She deals with really heavy mental health things and has really leaned on me for support and a safe space. I am also one of, if not her only friends in our college town, so I just am scared and feel bad about how she will take it, almost more so than how I will feel. Should I listen to my gut? Is this even my gut telling me this? I have never been more confused about something in my life. I'm not sure exactly what I want to hear, but if anyone has kind words, wisdom, personal experience they could share with me, I think it would help. Thank you. Comment. My man is 20 years old and thinks that breaking up with his girlfriend of 8 months, not years, months, is the hardest thing he will ever do. Bro. I guarantee you, life is gonna throw you much harder shit over the next 20 years. Trust your gut. End the relationship. Move on. And get ready to deal with harder shit. Maybe you guys can consult about how you're feeling about the things that she does, and if anything changes. If it's taking a toll on your mental health, you might want to move on from her. You're still really young and have your whole future ahead of you. Next, story 3. My boyfriend raised his voice at me slightly in front of people twice now. I broke up with him last night and he's asking for another chance. We've been together for 3 years and live together. I moved to a different state for us to be together like an idiot, so even though we are broken up, we will have to cohabitate until I can muster up the courage to tell my family. He raised his voice at me in front of his parents, and his dad did say something to him, but he doesn't really respect him very much, for very good reasons, so it had no effect. His father is a shit man that is not deserving of respect, but he did say it was not a big deal and told my BF/ex to calm down some. I told him that it was embarrassing. He didn't apologize and tried to just carry on as normal, which showed he was dismissive of her feelings. I was driving us back home and he asked why I was quiet. I told him because he was snappy with me in front of his family. He got quiet, did not say a single word for an hour or two. I didn't either because I was driving anyway. The next day I was thinking on it, and a bit quiet again, and he asked why. I told him nothing, trying to brush him off, and he pressed until I told him that I was still thinking about how he just shut down yesterday and I don't feel respect. Then he said I don't respect him either, but I asked how. I cook for you every day, make your meals, do your laundry, host your family, etc. He does all of this too, just a much less amount since he pays for most things. If I asked for help he would, I just do not feel comfortable asking. He later told me he feels disrespected because I shut down his ideas about buying a car and home together, or starting a business together on a regular basis. I told him, I only shut that down when it's with me. He can go buy a car, home by himself, or start a business with someone else. I won't do those with anyone that's not my husband, and that's that. He shut down again and stopped talking to me, and I didn't try to talk to him anymore. I went to bed and I guess he decided to sleep on the couch, and the next morning I ended things over text message. I know, not exactly nice, but if I did it face to face he was going to convince me otherwise, or I'd just cry the whole time. I've never broken up with someone before without it being mutual, and he came and asked me to talk. I ignored him, his crying, and when he texted me asking again I said no, because I'm tired of everything being on his schedule and when he wants it. I gave him back all of the gifts he's given me. A part of me wants to give him another chance, but how do we work through communication issues when he just shuts down? I have my plate full with other things, and other stresses, and the women in my family keep telling me that this is just something to get past and not a red flag. My biggest issue is he did this in front of others, which is my ego talking. I can be very prideful, and being checked by a man in front of others feels so degrading. He didn't scream at me or anything, but told me, can you just relax, give me a minute geez, in a tone you wouldn't use with others. It's not something he's done with just me, and honestly after seeing his family interact they all do it to each other. But I don't want to be addressed like that, ever. Period. Is this something that can probably be worked through, or should I just move out in 10 months when I can? We recently renewed our lease and subleasing is not allowed. Not willing to break it either. Comment. If you can't work this out you shouldn't be together. This is a common conflict that two healthy adults ready for a relationship with each other would work out. It sounds like he takes no responsibility and it's a finger pointing back rather than taking ownership. It's tough to be committed with someone like that. I understand not wanting to have a voice raised at you, and if you feel that's not how you will be treated, then that's understandable. The problem here is the massive lack of communication that's gonna take a lot of time, work and development. No offense, but I had to double check the ages as the story sounds like a 13 and 14-year-old. This is a repost. Your ego is right. Your ego is meant to protect you. Don't make your ego into a villain here. Don't put up with that behavior, period. He's not gonna change. If his family is like this, then this isn't your family. This is not your tribe. You had plenty of other input from other people. The reason I found your responses were prideful in the last post is because you were saying, "Ew, I don't want another relationship," and no, I'm not saying I don't want to be single, I just don't want to give up on him. In the case of him yelling at you, that is not pride telling you he's not supposed to shout at you. It's your feelings being rightfully hurt speaking to you. Everyone has family issues. Don't assume others have it perfect. What's not normal is shouting and yelling. That's power struggle, temper tantrums, and blatant lack of respect for those around you. What's also not normal is not taking accountability and owning up to their actions. What's not normal is shutting you out when you express your feelings. He doesn't care about how you feel, and even if he hated his father, he would know when his father is talking sense and resolve it with you, in private, if he really didn't want to do it in front of his father. Learn to differentiate when your ego is harming you, e.g. telling you not to get into another relationship, versus when it's telling you to speak up for yourself when you've been wronged, e.g. telling him he's crossed a boundary with you when he yelled at you. Either way, he's a ticking time bomb. You've already left, which everyone said was the right decision. Don't feel pity for someone who didn't even feel bad when you expressed your feelings about their behavior.